In last week's mini update, I presented a short video where I explored working quickly in two different directions. The first was a book layout that was based on a few references I'd been looking at. As I started to catalog the obvious details, location, condition, and size, I began to think about what other details could be interesting to include. Location of the car in the pick and pull lot, pictures of the cars, owners, mileage of the cars, weather on the day that the objects were found. Trying to organize all these elements into a book felt somewhat limiting. I wondered what an interactive experience of this information, like a website, might be like. I chose a template and began building. Last week I only shared stills, so there wasn't much to discover. But this past week, I've been focused completely on organizing, uploading, and categorizing all the information. 7 months worth. As I've worked, I've run into a number of questions. From how much of this information to share, like the names and addresses I've come across, to how to organize and what to show. Is this project about cars, the people, the leftover mechanical parts? I also struggle with the fact that this project feels very different from anything else I've done this semester, like I'm presenting rather than making. I shared these thoughts with Abby, along with my concerns about privacy, and she pointed out that the original information wasn't as interesting or important as the connections I was making on my own. This reminded me of a comment Dom had made on last week's video. He said I was providing a detective experience for your viewers so they can discover the information and stories in a similar way that you did. As I continue to work on the website, I kept this in mind. I started tailoring my writing and organizing my photographs in a way that is very similar to how I present my information here, as a narrative. So without further ado, I present the Pick and Pull project. It's still a work in progress. I realize now how much a strong narrative can guide an experience, and I plan to focus on this over the next week. That said, I still feel very uncertain about where it stands. I can see a connection to my thesis topic of translation. This feels like I'm translating an experience. But is that enough?